That is right. I am a ginger, and the first Void Legendary that Plarium gave me is a Soulless. I will be suing for a hate crime. So smash that like button if you want to help me with my lawsuit. So what's the deal with our brother from another mother? Is he a usable character? I think he's actually quite usable. There's something about his kit which isn't quite the way it seems. So let's go over his kit. First of all, his basic attack. When fully booked, it's a 50% chance to stun. Pretty basic. It's kind of like a Robar basic attack, only he doesn't get the extra turn. So it's kind of just a meh attack. It only is an attack one enemy, and it's only an attack one time, so it's not really good for like Giant Slayer, and it only has the one hit chance of proccing War Master. For this reason, it's just an okay basic attack. Now his second move is the one that works differently than how it's stated. So I'm not sure if it's a bug or if the text is wrong. But here's what it says happens, which is attack 3 times at random. Each hit has a 75% chance to remove a buff. Places a provoke debuff for 1 turn if a buff is removed. However, what actually happens is it attacks 3 times at random, has the chance to remove a buff, which is 100% when booked, and the places provoke debuff for 1 turn happens regardless. So essentially, the provoke debuff is gonna land as long as it does the resistance check and it's fully booked. Meaning he gets a triple provoke on his second move, which is on a 3-turn cooldown, and provokes them for 1 turn. I think provoke is actually fairly decent because it's sort of like a silence, and he gets this shield off his third move. Now let's read his third move. Now, the third move attacks all enemies, increases the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn. But actually what it is increases the duration of all enemies by 1 turn. So it's an AoE, and all the debuffs that are hit within that AoE, all their durations are increased by 1 turn. Places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns equal to 30% of damage dealt. Again, all damage dealt, it's an AoE move. The damage increases by 10% per each debuff on the target, per each debuff on all targets. So the wording could be a little better on this character to make it more understandable, but he's actually quite good because he gets a very large shield because it's damage dealt on everybody. And if you pair him with someone like Tomb Lord who puts like 3 poisons on everybody, his AoE duration of debuffs getting increased is very useful in dungeon trash clearing, because you can get like defense down or weaken or poisons up or any of the good debuffs. Then you increase the duration of all of them, and it's very, very strong. So I think his kit's actually not too bad. Also, something to keep in mind is all of his moves are damaged based upon defense, meaning he scales really well with defense, so keep that in mind when it comes to building dungeon comps. Now, moving on to Masteries, I went with these Masteries. I'm not 100% sure these are the primary best Masteries, but these are the ones that made most sense to me. It relies heavily on accuracy, increasing the amount of shields you can do, because his shields are massive. I mean, they're like over 100,000 health. It is increasing, chance to place debuffs and all that stuff. All of his moves end up being 100% chance when booked, but I don't have him booked, so I went with the other ones. And then obviously I went with like increased turn meter and stuff like that. And then just straight down the line here in the War Master, just to try to do as much damage as you can on auto attack against like dragons or, bosses, for instance. Okay, when you're building comps around this guy, you're really going to want to build around the fact that he scales upon defense. Now, the gear I have on him here is not particularly good gear. I just have some random lifesteal gear, but I'm doing the artifact event, and I only have the silver swap around gear to test the really good gear, so I'm just going to be using the stuff that I have available. Now, what I put with him is all of the best defensive people I have on my team, meaning I have a defensive lead in Tyrell. I have a defensive scaled person in Altan and in Rosin. Both of them scale as well up defense. And then Altan has a defense up. Now, if I didn't have Altan, maybe someone like Steel Skull or just somebody with a 60% decrease up for the team. What this does is it allows people to deal more damage if they're all based upon defense, as well as makes them tankier, so it's double as efficient. For this reason, if you're using Soulless, I really like to pair him with other defensive people, because Soulless, in order to be really good, actually needs to do some damage, because his AoE that gives him the huge shield gives him a massive shield. I mean, like 100,000 plus, and then you can get provoke. But the thing is, in order to do that, his AoE actually needs to do some damage, so he needs defense. And then when he does the provoke and he has the shield, it will scale based upon his defense meaning that the higher defense he has, the less damage he's taking in with the shield, right? So you kind of need his defense to be really high on top of it, all right? And then these other people like Tyrell, Rosin, Altan, all these people benefit from defense anyway, and they're going to be doing more damage from it. So for this reason, I really, really like to pair him with all other defensive people and at least one support character. I mean, one character that either boosts turn meter or can heal, because unless you have lifesteal on him, he doesn't really have an innate heal. He just has some damage mitigation with the shield. A res is fine if you're going to have like a squishy version of him. I've seen versions which is just pure damage, where he does just pure AoE damage on the first moves, decreases that, then provokes and all that, and people attack and kill him, and then he just dies, and then he gets rezzed. I've seen versions of that, so you can run that too. But I really, really highly recommend just someone either with like a speed up or somebody that can cleanse debuffs. Attack and crit up like I have here with Scartorsus is not necessary at all with the defense people. Crit's fine, but you don't need the attack up. The defense up is really what matters the most. Now, when it comes to actually killing the bosses, this is where Solas is going to struggle the most, because he only has War Master, so all your damage is going to be from the single basic attacking, very similar to Altan, but then he doesn't really have utility when it comes to bosses, meaning the provoke doesn't really do anything against the dragon, right? And increasing the duration of debuffs is kind of nice, and that hits 3 times, as does the provoke move hits 3 times, but you were not running Giant Slayer on him because the basic attack only hits once. So for that reason, he's not doing a ton of damage again to the bosses, okay? He's much better at clearing the waves. Okay, so here's the run. Looks like Solas did a respectable amount of damage. He did the 3rd most, and we got ourselves a pair of crit damage gloves. I'll show a couple of extra runs real quick just so you can get an idea, and then we'll move on. Here you go. Here's one more run to show you. Got some legendary boots out of it. And here's another run. Solas did 1,000,000 damage, and he did the most on the team. Most of that's from his AoE, which also gives him like that 100,000 health shield. So he is pretty usable in the dungeons. I mean, he's not bad. You do have to kind of have a way to keep him alive if you don't have lifesteal on him. But other than that, pretty good. The other thing I found out is he's really good in the magic keep, because his second move, when booked, is a 100% chance to remove a buff and attacks 3 times. So he effectively removes 3 buffs. That's pretty good against the magic keep. You pair that with people like Rosin, who remove up to 3 buffs on a basic attack, and you can chew through it pretty good. I'll show this run here, and I'll show another run sped up just so you can kind of get an idea. But yeah, Solas is now on my magic keep team for sure, and if I can get him fully booked, he'll be even better. And there we have it. Solas did the 3rd most on the team, but most of his damage is in utility. He's just removing the buffs. Okay, let's show one more here. I'll speed this one up, and we'll be right back. All right, there we have it. That was actually my fastest run yet at 1 minute 12 seconds for stage 15. So when you pair Solas with other people that can remove buffs, it really is pretty quick work. Yeah, we take those. Here's the deal with this guy in Arena. If you want to use him in Arena, you got to follow basically the same concept that we did in the dungeons, which he's only really going to be as useful as the people around him, meaning you have to have completely defense-based teams, okay? Meaning you want people like Altan with defense up, or you want a defense lead, maybe Tomb Lord lead in Arena. You know, you need a lot of defense, because in Arena you need to be able to do damage to get through the teams, okay? But here, the problem, before I can even explain what the problem is that happened, which is that the problem is, if you go to build this defensive team, you always go second, meaning you need to be able to resist whatever kind of CC or burst they're going to throw your way. So you need enough defense to survive the initial burst, since you're going to go second most of the time, since you're building that defensive style team. And you have to have resistance on your gear, meaning you really need an Arena team that's all defensive as well as being built for Arena, because you need lots of resistance, okay? For this reason, this team of pure defensive only really works against teams that are not as good as it. And for that reason, you're better off building a more stereotypical kind of team, or you can build the defensive team, just probably not without this guy on it. I think he is usable in the Arena, and he's probably even more usable if you have people that work fantastic with him. But the way I've had him at the moment, his major use in Arena comes from his provoke. And I feel like if I'm relying on a provoke debuff to really have the main use out of a character, I would significantly rather replace that character with somebody who does more than just the provoke. And I don't really care that much about his AoE move that increases the duration, because typically it doesn't last that long anyway. That being said, the removing buffs is kind of nice. If you do go second and they have like counterattack and some stuff up, you can remove like the counterattack buffs. But I'm still not feeling him too much, okay? That being said, his third move, the increased duration AoE that gives him a shield, has this weird amount of damage it does. I don't really have him built like that well gear-wise, and I don't have crit damage or anything weird on him, but he crits for a lot when it comes to his AoE triple move. So he does kind of have a nuke, which is cool. But again, if I cared about the nuke, I would just build, I mean, even like a starter like Kel is going to have a better nuke, you get my point of view? So for that reason, I'm going to say he's potentially usable in Arena, but I feel like every time he's in Arena, he's getting carried around the people around him, so I don't think that's where he shines the most. He's also, like, not really usable in the clan boss. Maybe super early game if you pull him, like, in your first month or something, and you just need somebody to increase the duration of your poisons. I could totally get it. But otherwise, yeah, no, you're not going to really use him in the clan boss, so he takes an L there. I'm going to be amazed if this works, but we're going to try to beat Ice Golem 20 for the first time here during this review. Now, look how big that shield is on him. You see that shield? Well, I would not have believed this until I started really looking into this character, but Solas helped me get all the way through until Ice Golem 20, and now I can actually auto the Ice Golem 20, so that's pretty cool. I think Altin's partly responsible for that as well, as he's been the new addition, but Solas helped me get past the stages where I had affinity disadvantages, so I would think that, yeah, Solas, I've kind of proved for myself, at least in my account here, that Solas definitely has some use, you know, all the way up to the end. And I just did another run into work, though it took way longer, and got a garbage shield. But hey, cool, it works, so awesome. When it comes to Fire Knight, I mean, I've tried this a billion ways, guys. He's not a Fire Knight guy, okay? He has one attack on basic, so when you're pairing him with like a counter attack or something in order to try to get the shield down at the end, he doesn't get enough of the shield down. And then on top of it, clearing through the waves isn't typically the problem with Fire Knight. It's once you actually get to the guy. And Solas is more about clearing through waves kind of efficiently, and he doesn't really do that much damage. He doesn't have like a healing reduction, so you have to slot in like another healing reduction like Cold Heart or something on top of it, which means you then have like a squishy team around somebody who you kind of want to build defensively. It just really doesn't work that well. It doesn't work for me in Spider either, because he's Void Affinity, so I can't like cheese it where having people target him with the shield or anything to make him tanky. I have this theory he would probably work pretty well with Ignatius, where Ignatius does the HP burn and he increases the duration of the HP burn on all the spiders. I don't know, it's just a theory. I don't have the HP burn team to try it out. Maybe someone out there that has the combo can try it, but in Spider, same results as Fire Knight. I can't get it to work for me. So where does that leave us with our brother from another mother? I believe that Solas is usable. In this series of thumbs up, thumbs down, he gets a thumbs up. He is a usable character. He's actually okay, borderline amazing if you're in the early to mid game or progressing, okay? Otherwise, he's just okay. I think that if you are trying to get through the dungeons, you're somewhere in, the lower teens, you're trying to get to dungeon 20, okay? On dungeons like Ice Golem, obviously it worked for me. You can also do Dragon. I think he's very good in Dragon. If you're lower tier in Arena or something, you're just really trying to chew through and you're progressing. I think he's very, very useful then. I think if you're a person who's already at endgame and you have pulled him, he's not somebody who replaces another top tier character. But if you are somebody who doesn't have many legendaries or you are still progressing in the game, I would not shy away from using this character because he gets such meme reviews. He is actually very, very usable, as I believe I have proved approved in this video. So if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, feel free to put them in the description. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give it a like. It helps a lot. Subscribe for more videos like this one, and have a great day. I love you all. Bye-bye.